John Jose and welcome to ST Global News. From the world's tallest Marian statue unveiled in Quito, Brazil, to the U.S. Bishop's vote to set the date for the Eucharistic Congress, we have many stories to cover. The 51-meter Our Lady of Fatima became the world's largest Marian statue, inspiring devotion and lifting hearts and eyes toward heaven. Constructed from prefabricated sections assembled on site, the statue was housed within the shrine of Our Lady of Fatima in Quito. It was officially inaugurated on Thursday, November 13.
The world's tallest statue of Our Lady of Fatima was officially inaugurated in the Brazilian city of Quito on November the 13th. The inauguration ceremony was held with an afternoon mass presided over by the Bishop of Quito, Monsignor Manius Henrique. The inauguration is part of the 2025 Jubilee of Hope celebrations of the diocese. Church leaders described the statue as a beacon of faith and hope and the monumental tribute to the Virgin Mary and her message from Fatima. The new statue, constructed from prefabricated sections assembled on site, is a towering 167 feet high. It is housed within the shrine of Our Lady of Fatima in Quito, which has a replica of the Chapel of the Apparitions in Portugal. Sculpted by Ranelson Viana, the statue was funded entirely through donations. The devotion to Our Lady of Fatima is deeply rooted in the history of Quito. This year marks the 72nd anniversary of the visit of the original pilgrim statue of Our Lady of Fatima to the town. The statue is much higher than Christ the Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro and the Christ the Protector statue in Encantado. Brazil, with the world's largest Catholic population, continues to express its faith in grand public ways.
Mexican priest who had been missing for more than 2 weeks was found dead in the state of Mexico, prompting swift arrest and renewed concerns about rising violence against clergy. Church leaders and local authorities expressed deep sorrow as investigators revealed that the priest suffered fatal injuries and his body was concealed. The case has intensified calls for justice and security reforms nationwide.
A Catholic priest from the Diocese of Cuautitlán was found dead after being missing for more than 2 weeks, according to ACI Prensa. Investigators located Father Ernesto Baltazar Hernandez Wilchis in a sewage canal in the state of Mexico. Authorities reported that the accused had concealed the body in bags tied to a piece of furniture to obstruct the search. The State Attorney General's office confirmed on November the 13th that a man and a woman were arrested for their alleged involvement, while another woman remained wanted. Officials stated the priest had been attacked with a sharp object, causing fatal wounds. Authorities added that one suspect had a criminal history, including a prior 18-year sentence for armed robbery, which further intensified public concern. Bishop Efrain Mendoza Cruz said he appreciated the priest's life and ministry and noted that his service would continue to bear fruit like a seed. He urged institutions to pursue investigations that ensure justice that every human life deserves. And he encouraged the faithful to pray for the priest's family during this painful time. The diocese, according to reports, joined broader appeals for an end to violence, disappearances, and fear affecting communities throughout Mexico. Authorities continued efforts to locate the third suspect as national attention on the case increased.
The United States has launched Operation Southern Spear, a military-led mission to dismantle narco-terrorist networks trafficking drugs into America, expanding naval patrols and authorizing legal strikes on smuggled vessels in the Caribbean and beyond. Since September 2025, over 20 engagements have killed at least 80 individuals identified by the Pentagon as traffickers, though critics allege civilian casualties and accuse the operation of targeting Venezuela under the guise of counter-narcotics.
The United States has launched Operation Southern Sphere, a new mission aimed at dismantling narco-terrorist networks operating across the Western Hemisphere. Announced by the United States Secretary of War, the initiative is being led by Joint Task Force Southern Sphere in coordination with U.S. Southern Command. Officials say the mission is designed to protect American communities by targeting the drug traffickers and criminal groups responsible for funneling deadly narcotics into the country. The operation expands the U.S. military's presence in the Caribbean and surrounding regions with increased naval patrol surveillance assets. In recent weeks, American forces have reportedly engaged multiple suspected smuggling vessels, signaling a more aggressive posture against transnational criminal organizations. U.S. authorities argue that these actions are necessary to disrupt the sophisticated network responsible for trafficking drugs. However, the mission has raised questions among analysts and regional governments. Some believe the operation could carry broader geopolitical implications, particularly for countries like Venezuela, which has accused Washington of using counter-narcotics efforts as a pretext for deeper involvement in regional affairs. Despite these concerns, U.S. officials maintain that the primary aim of Operation Southern Sphere is to secure the homeland and weaken criminal organizations that endanger American lives.
Russia unleashed a massive overnight assault on Kiev with over 430 drones and 18 missiles striking nearly every district and killing at least 4 civilians while injuring 27, including children and a pregnant woman. The barrage damaged 11 residential buildings, a school, a medical center, and a critical infrastructure, causing fires and disrupting heating, power, and water supplies. President Zelensky condemned the attack as a deliberate attempt to terrorize civilians and cripple essential services ahead of winter.
Russia launched a massive overnight strike on Kyiv, causing widespread destruction across the Ukrainian capital and injuring at least 11 people. Local authorities reported that drones and missiles targeted several districts, hitting residential buildings, public facilities, and essential infrastructure. Emergency responders worked through the night to pull victims from damaged structures, with officials confirming that 4 of the injured remain hospitalized, including a pregnant woman and another patient in serious condition. The assault caused significant damage to high-rise apartments, a school, a medical center, and administrative officers. Kyiv's mayor described the attack as one of the most aggressive in recent weeks, emphasizing that multiple neighborhoods were struck almost simultaneously. Heating services in one part of the city were disrupted, and residents were warned that power and water supplies could face interruptions due to the impact on utility lines. Military officials said the scale of the attack showed a deliberate attempt to pressure civilian areas and cripple essential services. The strike forms part of a broader wave of assaults reported across Ukraine as frontline tensions continue to escalate heading into war.
On Friday, the body of 73-year-old Manny Godard, murdered with his wife, alleged by Hamas terrorists during the October 7, 2023 massacre at Kibbutz Be'eri and abducted Gaza, was finally returned to Israel via the International Committee of the Red Cross. A military ceremony led by the IDF chief rabbi preceded the flag drop conveyed to Tel Aviv Abu Kabir Forensic Institute, where mourners lined the route in tribute.
The Israeli Defense Force has received the body of a 73-year-old Manny Godard, a hostage killed during the October 7 attacks and subsequently taken to Gaza following transfer by the International Committee of the Red Cross from the Gaza Strip. Godard and his wife Eilit were murdered at Kibbutz Be'eri on October 7, 2023. Then his body was abducted to Gaza by the terror group. IDF representatives say a short ceremony led by military chief rabbi was held in Gaza before the casket was escorted to the Abu Kabir Forensic Institute in Tel Aviv for official identification. A convoy carried Godard's remains to roads lined with Israeli and yellow flags as mourners paid tribute to him. Prime Minister priest's office issued a statement of solidarity with his family and reiterated Israel's commitment to securing the return of the remaining deceased hostage held in Gaza. At the time of reporting, 3 Israeli hostages, 2 Israeli and 1 Thai national, still remain in Gaza.
2 Christian missionaries, Alexander Vroom and his daughter Serena, were killed in a plane crash in Coral Springs, Florida, while en route to provide aid to Jamaica following Hurricane Melissa. They were the only passengers on board the plane, which was traveling from Florida to Jamaica.
2 Christian missionaries were killed in a plane crash while on their way to provide aid to Jamaica following Hurricane Melissa. The missionaries are being remembered for their compassion as an investigation into the cause of the crash continues. In a Facebook post, the Christian ministry Ignite the Fire announced that its founder Alexander Vroom, 53, and his daughter Serena, 22, were killed in the crash in Coral Springs, Florida on November 10th. The 2 were the only passengers on board the plane, which was flying from Florida to Jamaica. According to the ministry's statement, Alexander was known for his warmth and unwavering kindness. He devoted his life to serving others, and he founded Ignite the Fire to empower youth through missions and evangelism across the Caribbean. The ministry aimed to cultivate volunteers who are passionate about making a difference. Surviving members of the Vroom family, in Alexander's wife and Serena's mother Candace, along with the couple's 2 other children, Christina, reflecting on Serena's legacy, Ignite the Fire called her a beacon of empathy and hope, praising her dedication to humanitarian efforts. The organization emphasized that their final journey to the hurricane-devastated Jamaica exemplified selflessness and bravery, serving as a powerful reminder of the transformative strength of service and love. A Facebook post from Vroom's personal account revealed that Ignite the Fire provided immediate relief to Jamaica following the storm, utilizing the organization's mission aircraft. During their previous trip, which took place early last week, Ignite the Fire delivered essential supplies to the hurricane-stricken island, including generators, crews, traps, battery packs, Starlink communication systems, and other critical items. The Coral Springs Police Department in Florida has released more information about the crash that occurred on Monday morning. The department is collaborating with the Federal Aviation Administration, the National Transportation Safety Board, and the Broward County Sheriff's Office to investigate the cause of the incident.
An incredible story shared by American priest Father Chris Aller during a Eucharistic procession in Canada has gone viral. While leading the procession, hostile men attempt to grab the monstrance. Immediately his hand was thrown back as if forced, and he screamed in pain. The conduct appeared to burn his palm. Let's take a closer look at this Eucharistic miracle.
An amazing experience shared by American priest Father Chris Aller during a Eucharistic procession in Canada is going viral on social media. In a reel posted by Parousia Media, Father Chris Aller of the Marian Fathers of the Immaculate Conception said that after his ordination he visited the Cree Indians in Canada and decided to process through their reservation with the Eucharist. About 1,200 people lived in the area, but faith was dying among the young people in the community. Only old women and their grandchildren followed Father Chris. While processing through roads and blessing the homes, a man who was the Indian reservation's leader started yelling at him, demanding that the Eucharist be taken away from there. When Father Chris ignored him, he started screaming expletives at the Blessed Sacrament and continued making his demand. However, ignoring him, Father Chris kept on walking with the monstrance. When the man charged towards him, Father Chris was determined not to let go of the monstrance and held it tightly. The man reached up and grabbed the monstrance. Instantly, his hand was thrown off the monstrance, and he screamed in pain as it burned his hand all the way across the palm. The man fell on his knees and looked up at the Eucharist, dumbfounded by what had happened. All the women and children walking behind the priest saw it and fell to their knees, worshipping Jesus in the Eucharist. Father Chris stated that God sometimes allows Eucharistic miracles because of people's doubt or disbelief in the real presence. The reel ended with the priest emphasizing, "You should have faith that That miracle happens every day at the Mass on the altar, and it's turned into the body and blood of Christ.
Members of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops voted on Wednesday, November 12, to schedule the National Eucharistic Congress for summer of 2029, with the city yet to be determined. The vote took place as part of an action item during the annual plenary assembly meeting in Baltimore, Maryland.
The U.S. Bishops' Conference has announced that the 11th National Eucharistic Congress will take place in the summer of 2029. This decision was voted during their annual plenary assembly in Baltimore on Wednesday, November 12, which aims to establish the event as a regular fixture moving forward. The specific city and dates are still pending determination. Bishop Andrew Cousins of Crookstown, Minnesota, spoke to the USCCB, explaining that the decision to set the National Eucharistic Congress for 2029 was made to avoid overlapping with the World Youth Day in 2027 or the International Eucharistic Congress in 2028. He also shared that the event location has been narrowed down to 3 cities, and the discussions are ongoing with leaders from all the 3 about the possibility of hosting the Congress. Bishop Cousins stated that the 2024 National Eucharistic Congress was a time of great grace for the Church in the United States, marking a powerful occasion for unity, celebration, and mission. The first National Eucharistic Congress was held in Lille, France on June 21, 1881. A few years later, in 1897, Pope Leo XIII proclaimed Saint Paschal Bailen as the patron of these congresses. Since then, more than 50 international congresses have been held. In a brief recap, Bishop Cousins noted that the National Eucharistic Pilgrimage, a 36-day journey spanning 10 states from Indianapolis to Los Angeles in the summer of 2025, drew a total participation of over 66,000 people.
That's all for today. Until we meet again, God bless and thank you.